This is the King of Average.
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 Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the King of Average podcast. Oh. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the King of Average podcast with your boy BB and
Medic.
to today's episode, where Medic's losing his head. You ready?
Let's do it, bro.
should this be a part of the background? Just for today.
That's crazy.
Black & Decker. Sponsor us.
And that is how a chainsaw sounds like.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
What's going on, man? This is
How
the
are
first
you, bro?
recording of 2024, baby.
Let's flipping go, dude.
I'm excited.
I'm lit about this right now. I really am. This is hell exciting.
That is amazing, man. So tell us,
Oh, look, it finally picked up your voice.
finally, what are we talking about today?
Dude, let's talk about 2024 first of all.
Okay.
No, let's talk about 2023. How about that? Let's recap.
Sure.
Let's recap on
Yeah.
the year. Yeah, I'm down. You know, the people want to know.
Oh, dude, heck yeah. What would you say was the highlight or some of the highlights of 23?
I'll tell you what, man. I had a lot of crazy things happen. And I don't think a lot of highlights, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even trying to be like negative about it. But there was a lot that happened, dude.
Yeah.
A lot that happened.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, actually.
I could say some stuff. One thing is what 2023 taught me was storms don't last forever. That was a time.
That was a single highlight.
I mean, I'm gonna get to it, right?
Okay.
Meaning that like 2023 started off so horrible. Like everything that could have possibly went wrong.
Yeah.
When it came down to like insurance and it came down to like a whole bunch of other disputes,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of it went wrong. And we both started the year off on the same page,
Yeah.
right? With very similar situations. And
Mm-hmm.
when like at the lowest part of it, when it was as grim as possible, it was very tough to see us making it out of it. As the year unfolded, so did the problems, at least my problems regarding, our whole situation. And it's crazy that talking at 2024 right now, looking back at the beginning, at the same day of 2023, I was completely different. Like my mood and everything else was completely different. A lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty. So it's a beautiful thing that storms pass. And there's always going to be some sort of wisdom at the end of it. My wisdom that I took out of it was that, like, keep on persevering. Don't stop life because of the situation or situations that you're currently going through. Continue going on. Continue fighting. Continue moving on to different avenues of like money, of relationships, and so on and so forth. So that was my biggest dub.
You ended 23 on a really good note.
I did. Thank God. So it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Well, I mean, that's not what I was getting at. I was saying a good note as in like, because you did it on.
Thank God. Well, definitely it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Like in general. Because like I started off super depressed.
You started off not Armada, you finished with Armada, so
For sure.
yeah.
But like with the whole other situations, it's not how you. It's basically not how you started. It's not
Let me
how you
guess.
finished.
It's how you finish.
That was a great guess, bro. Armada, in and of itself, had to have been the highlight, though. Like you're right. Armada was a life-changing trip that I never knew I needed. I always thought that Armada would be dope seeing the Kaaba for the first time, going to Masjid Nabawi and so on and so forth. That's sick. I'm Muslim. I'll go through the motions of it. And I'm pretty sure like there are a lot of like significance, but I didn't think that it would have as much of effect that it did on me. As you know what I'm saying? Like I left almost having some sort of void in my life. Like I'm back right now, right? And I'm slowly kind of getting back to like the rhythm of life. But coming back, I was almost depressed. Like that you were once in some form of paradise, of peace and serenity. Maybe that's what it was. And life made sense. Everything made sense. Because all you focus on when you're over there is just how am I gonna get to the next prayer?
Why did you guys chop the trees down the walkway over here?
Because in Umrah, why the heck are you asking that right now?
Because I just thought about why the heck do you guys have a chainsaw? And then I remembered while I was walking down, there's like 3 trees missing from right there.
So going back to my Umrah trip, right? Random, bro. But I guess due to ADHD, we had a tree that we just didn't want to, had no use anymore.
Okay.
So my dad took it down. That's all it was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, 2023 was definitely it was huge for me in terms of mental toughness. Which, I mean, to some degree or another, I'll be real with you. I thought up until this point in my life, I've gone through enough that would develop enough like mental toughness in my head. This past year, like it was like we're gonna beat you down, and then on top of that, we're gonna kick you while you're down. You know, we're not just gonna bring you to the ground, but we're gonna kick you while you're down. And subhanAllah, you know, I feel like it was just an opportunity for me to explore different perspectives that maybe I just haven't developed yet in life surrounding, mental toughness in general. You know what I mean? I feel like 2023 really was a year that prepared me mentally in order to begin the next phase of my manhood, right? And so just like anything else, I look back at 2023 and I'm like, cool, glad it's over, but I'm grateful for what it was that I went through. And I guess we'll transition that into pretty much today's conversation because as you guys know, we like to circle these conversations around, our life experiences, right? Something that I'll experience in terms of a conversation in my own head throughout the week. I'll bring it to Maddox's attention. We'll turn it into a topic of conversation because we hope that it will be able to benefit somebody who's watching or listening. And so today's conversation revolves around the idea of irrational self-belief. Word association, my guy, talk to me. Irrational self-belief, first word that comes to your head.
Being ignorant.
Oh, nice. Okay. I would have said being arrogant.
Okay. I think ignorance because you just don't think about, you're not like, naive is another good one, by the way, but you're just naive to everything. Like you're ignorant, you're oblivious.
Oh, I see.
To everything else that's around you that you're just,
it's almost like
it's your way or the highway almost. It's almost like you were just, that's it.
Yeah, they're like inconsiderate of, potentially other people's emotions, other people's perspectives.
I would say perspectives over emotions.
Okay.
Because when I think about like, oh, you're putting something over someone else's emotions, you're just walking all over them.
Right.
But I'm not really taking it maybe to that extreme. The way at least I think about it is, you have a lot of people have their viewpoints, and a lot of people are very opinionated. You completely just move that out and you only just focus on yours. Even if whatever they have to say may be valid, it may be the best for you at that time, even with that, you're just deaf. You're tunnel visioned, and that's all you think about is just.
Oh, I see. That's why you mentioned my way or the highway. Okay. So the reason for this conversation is because, when you hear a lot of people they talk about, their journey towards whatever level of success they've achieved, right? We're talking about, pretty much the most popular people in the world that you know of, right? A lot of them, they will, on top of the classic stuff, hard work, dedication, and like whatever.
Hard work and dedication.
They always highlight another thing where at some point or another, they told themselves, and they constantly told themselves that this is what I'm going to achieve, whether I like it or not, right? And I'll be honest, the kind of some of the examples that's coming to my mind right now I'll be honest, it's kind of cringe to mention, but it's like the Logan Pauls, right? The Jake Pauls of the world, right? The people, Steve Will Do It, right? These people, they had a moment and they had these constant conversations with themselves where they basically just said, I don't care what needs to be done, but this will be done, right? And I will do everything that needs to be done in order to get this done, right? So they place themselves at like this level in which, pretty much they are the main character.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's something we can all relate to, right? It's something we can all benefit from if we do adopt that kind of like main character energy where it's like, it has to be me and nobody else, right? I will be on top of the world. I will be the fastest runner. I will be the fastest swimmer, right? In order that you kind of like set that as a goal to constantly strive for, there is a lot of positives to it. And it compares to just regular positive affirmations that a therapist would suggest to their patient, right? Getting up in the morning and telling yourself positive things just in order that you can put yourself in the right mind frame to move forward with optimism and, try to move forward with excellence. But the idea of it becoming an irrational self-belief, that's something that I find myself gravitating towards, but I also have a problem with, right? And this is kind of like the foundation of this conversation. To what degree is it okay for a person to develop this irrational belief in order to achieve whatever it is they're trying to achieve? Let me pose that to you. To what degree is it important for a person to develop irrational self-belief?
I think in a world where everyone has an opinion about everything and everyone's very quick to give you their opinion regardless of whether you ask for it or not, I think negativity or just opinions in general, whether it's positive or negative, are always going to be thrown towards you, whether sometimes you like it or you don't, right? Whether you asked for it or you didn't. People will always have something to say. It's sometimes not even people that you meet out on the street. Sometimes it could be just like random videos, random TikTok shorts, reels or whatever it is that you're watching, just little messages that are thrown out to you that you just don't want right now, right? That makes you feel not like 100%, kind of throws you off your game. I feel like it's very comforting to be in that state of, I'm going to make it. I don't care what the heck has to happen. Just that at least you have something that you're standing for, right? You're not shaky at all. That I can come and I can be like, yo, baby, you're trying to do this, and I don't think it's the best idea because of X, Y, Z. And I may make a very compelling argument for that. But in your mind, you're like, are you done? Sort of like, oh, you're just going to honestly just dismiss everything that I just said. That's very comforting. And I think at times that's what's needed, where you're just like in that Kobe mentality of you're in your head, the job's not done yet. I'm going to achieve it. I don't care what needs to be done. but it's gonna get done. So that is almost you giving yourself, your mind, that certainty that you really want, the certainty that you're not promised, because we're all like, we can all always fail or find failures or potential things that we could fail in anything that we're trying to do. That ignorance is what I'm trying to like loop around. That ignorance, in my opinion, is that certainty that you need. That even when you are feeling a little uncertain, you kind of snap yourself back into it, be like, no, 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 it's gonna work. It's gonna work. So, yeah, that's my thoughts around it.
Yeah, so I love that. I love that a lot because the fact of the matter is like, you could simply just be on your path, and then people are trying to like stray you off your path, and once you start to doubt yourself, once you start to question yourself because of what external input is sounding like, that could definitely be detrimental, right? And the funny thing is like, why the hell are people so concerned with someone else's life? You know what I mean? Like, why do you feel the need to share your opinion about someone else's life and someone else's future instead of just focusing on your own?
Sometimes it's not coming from a bad place. It's not coming from a place of insecurity, or it's not coming from the places that we always want to live. Oh, that person's just jealous of you, or they wish that they could be in your position right now. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's your family members. Sometimes it's your friends, or someone that's actually, that has the genuine intention of wanting to help you out and trying to actually look out for you. But that's not always the case. Just because you have the true intention, the genuine intention of trying to help someone out and wanting the best for them, this might sound a little weird, but I don't think that's always beneficial. Sometimes you have to let someone go through something, go through some sort of business venture, or some sort of, you have to let them fail. You have to let them at least live life, fail or succeed, right? In order for them to get to that point themselves. I know as like a parent, right? It was like my parents, one thing that they did pretty well that they later on vocalized, they're like, when you're a little kid, we let you, like, we told you, hey, look, don't do this, don't do that. Here's just the basis, right? Here's the board, like, here's the basis. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, and here are all the reasons why you shouldn't be doing this. We're not going to be breathing down your back about why you shouldn't be doing this and why you constantly should not. Hey, are you sure you're not doing that? Are you sure you're not doing that? Well, you have to fail, is what they told me. And I'm happy that they did, because if someone micromanages you all throughout the way and you're just holding your hand all through, you don't really, you're that person, that friend, that parent, or whoever it is, deprives the individual of the freedom of actually trying.
And the necessary experience that you learn in the process.
Correct.
Yeah, so the micromanaging is kind of the thing that I was like trying to highlight. Because it's,
I really like this topic, by the way.
yeah, no, it's fantastic. This is gonna be a long one for sure. But it's the micromanaging, it's somebody who thinks their opinion is valid when it's like, you focus on you, I'm gonna do me, just move along. You know what I mean? It definitely is important to have that irrational self-belief. It's important to have self-belief, period. The irrational part we'll expand on later, but it's important to have that self-belief because it's going to help you maintain focus on whatever the picture is that you're trying to paint. It's going to maintain your focus rather than that your self-belief being, shaken by someone, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, did I use the right color? Should I be drawing this? Do I need to add these details? No. You have that picture in your mind, keep focused on it, and through your self-belief, whether rational or irrational, all that matters is you get that picture done.
I have something to say. So it's crazy that you he starts off every meeting allowing them to speak, allowing them to give off what they have to say. And then towards the end, he's the last person to speak and give his opinions about certain data or situations that the company is looking into, right? The reason being is that he allows them to fully just get everything off their chest. Because if Jeff Bezos was to start off the conversation with, I think this is wrong and I think this is how it's supposed to be done, he said with his own words that from his experience, the people that are very, very, very trusted, that are very smart and very about their ways and stuff like that, even them, they start to second guess themselves. They're like, oh, am I doing this wrong? Did I think about this in the wrong way? Because Jeff is thinking about, he basically, everything that he just said is against everything that I was just about to say.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes you double guess and second guess yourself and stuff like that. So like, he allows other people to speak, right? And then from there, by the time he's able to when it's his turn to speak, his whole perspective of that situation is altered. It shifts. So it's influenced a little bit, right? So don't rob other people of that experience of wanting to say something out loud, or to go through something that they want, as they firmly believe it. Let them have that moment. Let them do what they want to do. And then after they've done what they want, then speak up. Then, then be present, or at least be that father or that authority.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the one video that I thought that I saw it not too long ago. It was on my way back home. I was like, ooh, that kind of clicks with this.
Yeah. That's tight. That's good facts. Getting into the part where the self-belief might be irrational, I think there also is well,
who says irrational though?
So you gotta, the issue that I'm having, or no, the reason why this whole thing kind of like came about as to like turning it into a topic is because there genuinely is a difference between having self-belief and just believing in yourself and just being an optimistic, confident person, but then taking it to an extreme to where you almost become obsessed, not with yourself, but with the idea of seeing something from nothing grow into something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like literally, it's almost like beating a dead horse. What's the saying? Just gonna throw that in there. Beating a dead horse. But no, it's almost like, doing something out of pure insanity, right? Like you do it over and over again, expecting a different result, right? It's like someone could have an irrational self-belief and they can just, for example, post episode after episode after episode, and you're getting 0 views, 0 views, 0 views. Someone like Mr. Beast, for example, is a perfect example, right? He was like, you have to go through the phases. You have to go through the phases of just posting and posting and posting, and you're going to get 0 views. Nobody's going to watch your stuff. But with that irrational, so if he were to look at it rationally, how long would it be until he just goes, this isn't working, I'm going to move on? You know what I'm saying? That's like a rational conversation a person can have with themselves. To take it to the irrational level is for it to not work, fail, try again. Keep going until all of a sudden a miracle happens. Right? And so for most people, they'll have that rational conversation with themselves. They'll tell themselves, hey, you know what? I thought this was a good product for my e-commerce store. I did a little bit of ads on it. It didn't work. scratch it. Let's let it go. Right? But imagine falling in love with that product, becoming so obsessed with it to an irrational degree where you look at it and you just go, no, I'm going to try and try again. I'm going to try to improve this product. I'm not going to give up on it. I'm going to improve this product because I'm just obsessed with finding it successful. You know what I'm saying? And everybody looks at this person like, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you reach that level of irrational self-belief. I will make this work. I will beat this dead horse until it starts to gallop again. I'm telling you, the dead horse is a metaphor somewhere. I can't think. You're not going to be that guy, what?
I'm not going to be that guy that's like, why the heck are you talking about a dead horse? No. Ignorance is bliss, baby. Let's beat that dead horse, baby.
I'm going to ride that dead horse. Let's move it.
I'm scared.
But that's so like, okay, so I don't know if like, did that put like a good picture in your head of like
dead horse? No, all I'm thinking about right now. Yeah, that's who.
That's what do you think this was for? Chopping trees. So do you understand the image of like what I mean by irrational self-belief?
It's almost like you talked about insanity, doing
you almost
thing over and over again and expecting a certain thing.
Right. You go into something, but you believe in it so much that to a degree of insanity, you keep going, you keep trying, right? And once again, I do think having irrational self-belief really, really is important.
I think it sets you apart,
especially if you want to be set apart. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's one of those things where you could be purpose-driven. You could have your self-belief. You know what I mean? People could believe in you, right? And that will take you to a certain degree. You can become successful. You can become a millionaire. You can have a successful business. But I think the absolute elite of the world, they went through not just self-belief or confidence or self-confidence or, positive affirmations. No, they went through a degree of irrational self-belief to where, once again, they did whatever they saw was necessary to stand above the rest.
I think go ahead. You wanna finish your point before?
No, you go ahead, because this is where I want to transition into the substance of today's combo.
The one first thing is first, bro. This has been a lot of substance, bro.
It's been a lot of. I'll tell you what. It's been a lot of like mac and cheese and coleslaw.
Yeah,
we're about to get into the steak.
Ooh, we're about to get to the dead horse, baby.
Oh, the dead horse! As long as Kevin grills in, bro, I'm eating, bro.
What's the seasoning that he uses?
He just has a flippin'. It's just a barbecue steak seasoning from like Walmart, bro.
Dude, that's the best.
It's gas, dude.
With that being said, what I thought about is those elites and those people that have that irrational self-belief, or just that person in general that has that product that they believe in so much. It shifts the whole thing where like I think they shift their mindset to everyone thinks I'm crazy for believing in this product, to I think everyone is crazy for not believing in this product.
Okay, I like that.
I think that is very powerful.
I think that's a very healthy way to look at it.
So it's very purpose driven. So now
it shows you have a vision.
Correct. Your vision,
you're purpose driven.
Your reason why.
And now you work with precision in order that you can create the division between you and the rest. Oh, get it off your chest. You're not gonna throw in bars? Oh man. Do you remember your point by any chance?
I do.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. I got you.
That, to summarize it all, is I think a very healthy mindset shift to believe in that whole thing of, you guys think I'm wrong, but if you were to ask me, I think you guys are the one that are wrong.
Okay, you know what? I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that is the perfect transition into the issue I have
Okay.
with irrational self-belief. That last thing you just said right there, doesn't that sound kind of arrogant? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. You literally just said, I think all of you are wrong. Come on now.
I guess it could come off as arrogant.
It could come off as kind of arrogant. Yeah. And so this is what I mean by, like, this is the meat and potatoes of today's conversation. Right? Even though it's already been 30 minutes. Crazy. Wow. The meat and potatoes of today's conversation is basically what? How can one develop a sense of irrational self-belief without it leaning and becoming arrogance? Because the important thing to realize here is what?
What are you looking for?
My phone. The important thing to realize here is what? Irrational self-belief is necessary. Why? Because, once again, life is going to hit you with trial after trial after trial, and sometimes it's just at a normal flow. Sometimes life is going to do what? It's going to take you to the ground, but then beat you further like a dead horse, right? And it gets to a point where this is what I've been experiencing. Okay?
ADHD.
It gets to a point where you literally sit there and you stop for a second and you go, holy smokes, it's all going to crap. You know what I mean? And, like, as much as I'd like to think it can't get worse, it's getting worse. You know what I mean? So it's like, in order to, once again, forget the negativity coming from other people, now the negativity is in your own head. You know what I'm saying? And you have to develop this sense of irrational self-belief in order to get yourself back on your own feet. Every single time and time again, after no matter what hits you, right? You have to sit there and you have to literally, like, just, you have to crawl your way out of it, right? Sometimes the only way you can do it is through this irrational self-belief. Now, the concern started by saying, okay, well, if I'm going to fail, try again, fail, try again, fail, try again, to what point does a Muslim say, maybe Allah is trying to send me a message, right? And to what point is it appropriate for a Muslim to say, this is what Allah wants from me, or this is what Allah doesn't want me to do? You know what I'm saying? We can't go and assume what our qadar is.
Yeah.
All we know is that we have to strive to do good and strive and strive and strive. If it doesn't work, but you know it's good, it's something that's pleasing to Allah, then you have to keep striving, right? If it's something bad, get out of denial and disconnect. You know what I'm saying? But if it's something you know is good, something that is, going to assist you, yourself, your family, the community, the ummah, then you should keep pushing for it, right? So the irrational self-belief comes around, to what degree does it, like, how inappropriate is it for a Muslim to assume the qadr that Allah has written for him? And the opposite of that is what? If it's not working, right, but I keep pushing because I'm going to make it work, are you being arrogant, kind of trying to tell Allah, I'm going to make this work whether you like it or not? Which, a'udhu billah, right? But that's where the concern comes in. That's where the concern becomes.
It's crazy that you think about that, because I never think like that. Like, I never took it to the point of me wanting to think that I'm going against God, or I'm thinking that like whatever I'm doing regarding to like a business or like something that I'm very passionate about, that is within the scopes of my religion, right? So it's not like I'm bending morals, I'm bending my Islam in order for me to succeed somehow or some way, right? I never thought of it in that way of, am I trying to disprove? Am I going against God? Is God, instead of going on my side, like he started, God started on my side, but then now he's against me. And I never thought of it like that, because
not that God is against me.
or you trying to go against what God has written for you.
Right.
I think he said it best, man. Who do we know the qadr of Allah? Like how do we know that?
Yeah.
How do we know that something is that? Besides praying salat istikhara and stuff like that, and you get some sort of message or some sort of...
You don't get a message.
I'm just saying.
Allah just makes it happen or makes it not happen.
Which is in some sort of a way a message, right? Like you get... It's not like a clear, like a text, like, yo, you know, you should do this. But it what I'm trying to get to, though, is like, when it comes down to the qadr of Allah, that is between you and God. And I feel like if you have that belief that you're doing this for the right reasons, and you can genuinely say that, right? Inside, you can look into Bibi and you'd be like, I am doing this for the right reasons. I'm not doing this to oppress people. I'm not doing this because I'm trying to, you know, just get one, I'm trying to like screw over people. You have a genuine thing. I feel like that's green lights. Just go, right? I don't feel like you're going against God or you're going against God's teachings or so on and so forth. Now, if something, I think there is a fine line between wanting to actually give it up and wanting to push forward. And I think that's where that whole ignorance kind of comes in, right? The whole thing of, you guys were wrong, I'm right. That could be a double-edged sword. That could propel you towards success, or that could just keep on digging you deeper and deeper. It's like a gambler that doesn't know that they actually have a gambling problem. No, I'm gonna win. Like, let me just crank slot a couple more times, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna win. No, I lost for the past 100 times. The 101st time, that is gonna be the one. Like, I know it.
Right.
That's when it goes towards your demise.
Right. Irrational self-belief.
That is just, it's stupid. But I feel like you just have to have a stopping point, or at least a point where you kind of take a step back and you get to reevaluate the situation from not from an emotional state of mind, because when you're really set into something and you genuinely believe in that message or that product or that movement that you're trying to propel, that you're trying to bring out to the world, but it's not going, emotions can get into it, because you're going to get very hurt into it, because your expectations, your life, your passion, your emotions just get into this. So it's more than just a product now. It's you. Now, success and the failure resembles you. The product is not a success. Now you're a success. The product is not a failure. You're the failure. So I think it's detaching yourself from that whole product or that situation, the business or whatever you're trying to get yourself into. Take a step back and really, really picture it. Is there any hope? And I'm saying like when things hit, like when to call it quits, right?
Mhm.
I personally think you have to look at it. When to call quits, I think that you get to
So I
take
don't
a step back and actually just think about it,
the
analyze the situation.
the focus isn't like I mentioned like a specific either product or business or whatever, right? Like a specific endeavor, but the focus on irrational self-belief is more about the self. It has nothing to do with like the the item or the the route of output. You know what I mean? It's more of like the irrational self-belief in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? uh Yeah, it's not specifically about the product.
But you're trying to push the product that you believe in, or
So
is it that what you
that's
believe in is
so
yourself and doesn't really matter what
yeah,
in front of you?
it's like you know how somebody who is like a really good salesman, they'll tell you like, uh, I can sell ice to a polar bear or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay, to a dead horse.
No, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like,
I can feel sad at a beach.
right, something like that.
Yeah,
You know, like there's a form of irrational self belief there. You know what I mean? They believe in themselves. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to do with the product.
sure,
They believe in their ability.
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Um, that's kind of what the focus is. Don't focus on the business or the product or the video or the
Okay,
whatever, right?
okay.
The focus is on the self, because associated with irrational self belief is this degree of arrogance. Cool. And like we said, in order to, in order that a lot of like these elites of the world, in order that they actually got to that level, what did they have to do? They had this degree of irrational self-belief where they naturally put themselves on top of everybody in their own heads, to where it began to personify in their actions. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like they literally carried themselves with a degree of arrogance in which they, maybe not all of them, maybe not all the time, right? But this is my concern. This is my fear. How do you try to carry yourself to the top without looking at everybody and saying, I'm better than you? Irrational self-belief. I'm worth more than you. Irrational self-belief. I have more potential than you. Irrational self-belief. It's rational self-belief. It's a good thing, right? But it also sounds a little arrogant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of reaching that level of success, reaching that level of wealth, reaching that level of fame, you have to develop certain personality traits that allows you to actually be beyond people. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a certain degree of selfishness, a high degree of selfishness. You know what I'm saying? How many millionaires? How many millionaires? I'm not gonna say how many millionaires do we know, but let's just say, for example, how many millionaires in the world are there? Why isn't stuff like world hunger, why isn't that solved? You know what I'm saying? Why is there corruption amongst the millionaires? Why is there corruption amongst the billionaires? Why is there corruption amongst the elite of the world who are literally puppeteering everybody else? Why? Because to reach that level, you've had to start off with an irrational self-belief, but then you had to develop certain personality traits that completely hindered your morality. And it started with arrogance. Do you know what I'm saying now?
I think that arrogance carries you.
The arrogance, well, of course, it started with arrogance. Of course, it's the gateway. From there, the arrogance allows you to do what's necessary,
So I guess the question,
no matter how nasty it might get.
the question arises is, how do you check yourself?
How do you check yourself? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how do you achieve the same thing? Because we should all be striving to be the best in whatever the heck we are, right? The whole point of the king of average is what? Here's average. We're here constantly aiming upward. You know what I'm saying? We're the kings of average. We're just above. But we want to keep striving for more and more. We should all try to be elites, right? But also, what's the point of this whole show? What's the point of the whole podcast?
So the issue
The whole point of us ever even trying to get on camera is there is a certain character development that we're concerned with within ourselves, within each other, and we hope to inspire into someone else, right? It's not just about reaching the pinnacles of the world, but it's also being at the pinnacle, all while being a flipping amazing person. How am I going to be the top of the world, but also the top on my Islam? You know what I mean? The top on my deen. If we took bro, there's so much wealth in the Muslim world.
Look. To that, right? Because like I know we kind of like went into a little bit of a tangent, but to throw it back to the original point,
Throw it back, dude.
You said you need that. I don't want to say that you need it, but like in a way, you kind of need that arrogance, right? I want to say that you said that exactly, right? But you start off with that arrogance of just that self-belief, right? My thing is, if you don't think it's arrogance, if that's not your intention, then I'm not saying if you don't think it's arrogance, that it's not arrogant.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's very problematic.
That's very problematic.
Yeah. That's very arrogant for you to say.
You have to then think then in that just shift to check yourself along the route. When you start getting those thoughts like, I'm doing better than you. I'm way better than that person. I'm a better communicator. I'm a better salesperson than XYZ. Screw that person. The second you start thinking that, then I feel like there's like certain things that you got to check yourself. There's certain points that you have to be like, whoa. Why did I even think about that right now? You just walked by someone. They just smiled at you. Then automatically you're like, I'm better than that person. Why did you just think that? Right? Like, I get what you're trying to get to. My thing is that you could still have that mentality of, I'm going to crush it. That mentality of this and that. I feel like one thing that will help is for you to compare yourself to yourself, which is tough because you typically compare yourself to other people. We're athletes. Our stats. You were once a runner, right, in track. You compare your records to other people's records, right? You compare yourself to other people in order to see that if you're better than that person overall or not. Who's better, LeBron or Kobe? All right, well, let's go see the stats. Let's go see the rings. Let's go see the MVPs. Let's go see everything else that goes into it. Like, human beings as just a race, we always want to compare ourselves to other people, and that's our metric to know that we're better than someone or we're not. That's not necessarily, in this case, a good thing with our religion and who we are. So I think to maybe rethink that, to that way it's like, okay, well, how's my business doing from last year? How are my sales compared to last year, right? How can I progress this? How can I get better, right? And then from there, you could shift it to like, how can I help everyone else get better? But like, that's maybe in a different position. My thing is that you got to check yourself. There's no doubt that you should have at times that blank think of, I'm going to make it. I just got to figure it out. That certainty that you're going to do it, because many people are going to say that it's arrogant. Many people are going to try to knock you. Why are you having that mentality that's everyone doesn't have? most importantly, why do you have that strong mentality that I don't have? You're making me feel bad. You're arrogant. Even though inside you're like, I'm not arrogant. Like, I want this.
Mm-hmm.
This is not affecting you at all, right?
Yeah.
Just because I'm feeling just because I'm feeling hurt from your success,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm feeling hurt from your shift in mindset and just perspective,
Yeah.
that has nothing negative to me. You're
Right.
not making
It could trigger someone's insecurity.
It could trigger someone's insecurity, but don't let someone else's insecurities be the reason why you don't achieve the best in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm trying to say?
No, 100%. I love that. I like that a lot. But the fear is actually becoming arrogant, not somebody telling me I've become arrogant.
But
I could care less what other people think.
That's arrogant.
No. The fear is actually becoming arrogant. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, if you don't think you're arrogant, it's like,
Yeah.
that might be a little arrogant of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it just sounds like we're saying tongue twisters at this point. But it's like, the fear is actually becoming arrogant versus just developing a healthy, irrational self-belief.
So I think you got to, once again, go back to it, right? You got to question yourself.
You got to check yourself. You're 100% right.
What makes you arrogant in certain situations? How can certain situations make me feel arrogant or make me feel like I'm better than other people?
Okay. So I think this would be a good transition into the shift's response.
Let's do it.
Because I did when this whole idea came to my mind, and I sent Matic this long voice note about the topic idea. I also said that I was going to ask a couple of shuyukh to try to get an answer from them, see what their opinion is, because we can just go back and forth as we're doing now. Meat and potatoes. You felt that shift? We're going to the main dish right there. Anyways, so shout out Sheikh Mustafa Ahmad. What a G, dude.
Yeah, what a guy.
What a G. Fucking love him, dude. So I sent him this big old text message. And forget my text message. But basically he said, good question. I think it'd be beneficial if the arrogance element can be kept under control. Right? So we're heading in the right direction, you know? And moving on. If someone uses the proper wording like, Allah has created us with amazing potential, I am not living up to my human potential, I can be as good as Jordan if I put my mind to it, if I put in the effort, and if Allah gives me tawfiq. If that style is used, it should be okay. Right? So I think one of the ways you can really check yourself on the arrogance element
is a remembrance to God.
Is you always absolutely in everything that you do. Because one of the things, and I'm surprised this point has not been mentioned yet, but one of the biggest factors as to why this irrational self-belief seems arrogant in my mind is because typically when you ask these people who are the elites of the world, right? When you ask them what their opinion is about God, most of them have dismissed him.
Yeah, they don't need him anymore.
Most of them believe they've reached the pinnacle of this world by themselves.
Where astaghfirullah, now they feel like they're God.
They're God. They can play God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is why the arrogance element was a concern from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they get to a point where they have this irrational self-belief in themselves that they can achieve without the assistance of the Lord who makes them breathe on their own. To close out, right? To close out, I guess the question is, why use irrational self-belief? Personally, I think it's definitely important to keep yourself in a forward motion, in forward progress, right? No matter what happens along the way, this hurdle, this obstacle, that obstacle, you still wake up and you convince yourself, none of it matters. I don't care about any of it. I'm going to reach my final destination. You know what I mean? I'm going to achieve the pinnacle of whatever success I'm aiming for. Why use irrational self-belief? Because sometimes it's the only thing that will get you out of bed in the morning. You know what I mean? How to control your arrogance when using irrational self-belief? Never forget God's in the picture. And never forget that nothing can be achieved without the assistance of God. And also, you will go through failures by the will of God.
Yep.
It's all from God. It's all in His hands. It's all happening.
Yep. Allahu Akbar. God is greater. I know they could be like translated to God is the greatest, but Allahu Akbar, right? Akbar than who? Akbar than you, Akbar than anyone else.
Yeah.
Right? And I love that it's greater.
Greater than, yeah.
It's greater than. God's greater than you. God's greater than any sort of situation. So like that, I'm really happy with that because it's very soothing. We're over here trying to be the best that we could possibly be, which could ensue a lot of, or like accrue a lot of anxiety, right? To a person to try to live up to a certain status, to a certain level that we want so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But God is going to be there, and God's going to be there to guide us, right? We're not going to be the all-knowing. We're not going to be that person that's going to be the person that's Him. We're not Him at all times. No, God is Him. God is that person. God is the best, period. Right? And I like the fact that you humble yourself, because I remember I kept on saying, like, you got to find ways to check yourself. You got to find ways to check yourself. I just couldn't really give you a concrete way to check yourself, right? What an amazing way to check yourself, by remembering God. Like, yo, I got here because of God. I'm going to get out of this situation that I'm in, this tough situation that I'm in, with the help of God. You're not alone. So what a great way to end this. So that's my final remark, man.
Cool, man. Awesome, dude. Hopefully you've benefited anything. If you have, definitely please leave us a like, shoot us a comment, and subscribe to the channel. And let us know, is there anything you would like us to talk about? And then let us know if you have any thoughts on today's episode. But with that being said, I've been your boy BB,
Medic.
and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.